What is going on, everyone? It is Tyler McKinney back here again, and today we're getting back into the XFL. We are in Week 5, and we are previewing the second game on Saturday. If it's your first time here, hey, glad to have you. If you're a return viewer, thanks for coming back, and thanks for watching more videos. And subscribe, please. I'm begging you. Please, pretty please. I'd love to have more subscribers, and I'd love to have more people part of this community. Remember, we're just out here. We are supporting the XFL. Why? Because really the national sports media, they just for some reason don't want to cover it. So guess what? We're going to take it into our own hands, and we're going to cover it, and we're going to enjoy it, and we're going to support the XFL, and that's what we're doing here, and I'm glad to have you. Remember, leave me those comments down in the comment section. I love interacting with every one of you, and if you have a good comment, I'll go ahead and I'll feature that in an upcoming video. And listen, I know that we just got done with the giveaway, and I appreciate everything that everyone's done. And some people have asked me when I'm going to announce the winner. You know that I'm going to be going to the Arnold this weekend, so I've got kind of a busy weekend. Hopefully I can get up some videos if the internet's not too bad. But what I want to let you guys know is because of that, I'm going to go ahead and announce that next week and get the information from the winner and have them get in hold and get contact with it. So that'll be coming up in a video this upcoming week. All right, let's not waste any more time. Let's get into the video and the content for today. And remember, we are going through and we're breaking down each game in an individual video. And I apologize. I know I had somebody say, I thought this was going to be a shorter video because you broke it up. Well, it was a 20-minute video when I'm normally doing a 40-minute video, so I guess it was almost about half. We'll see. I'll try to do better this one. All right, so we are going out to Dallas. That is right. We've got the New York Guardians coming into town. They're coming in to face the Dallas Renegades, and that game is starting at 5 p.m. They're going to be in Globe Life Park there in Dallas, and listen, it's going to be a great, beautiful night there. It's going to be a great, beautiful night for some football. Partly cloudy, 60 degrees. Yeah, it's just going to look nice, especially those jerseys. If you think about it, you have that pretty blue with the accent of that red against the gray and the black and the red. It's going to look really, really nice on the field. It's going to be a fun game. This game is going to be on Fox. And again, we've got two games that are going to be on the major networks. And I think that that's going to help things out. I think last week, a little bit of the hit was that the games got buried on ESPN2 and FS1. And so with these games, hopefully Saturday's games, they'll get a little bit of bump in viewership. And I think especially because I think this one's going to be a close game, I think it'll do pretty well. Now, we're looking at the line. The line is 7.5, and Dallas is giving up 7.5 points to the Guardians, who are coming into town, the away team. And let's start right there with breaking down the away team. And listen, this is crazy. I don't know what is going on. Why in the world Luis Perez hasn't been named the starter? We have not heard nothing out of the camp for New York on who is going to be the starter this week. Now, who knows? It could be that Gilbride is going and He's already thinks that that's just common knowledge that it's going to be Luis Perez, but we know that Matt McGloin is back healthy again this week, and so he is available. So with that being up in the air, and the fact of the matter is that the depth chart still has Luis Perez as the third option at quarterback on the depth chart on the XFL website. So take it for what it's worth. I don't know. And that's one of the things that is frustrating, is really to try to get these personnel things from the XFL. It seems that they always come out late. Regardless, though, it looks like I would almost, if I had to bet, I would say that Luis Perez is going to be starting, and he should, because he played really well last week. Listen, a 69% completion rating with that last week. I mean, when you look at his stats and what he did last week, he played really, really well. And he had 150 yards and, on 18 completions, but here's the key: that's what I said. 0 interceptions, and he had a touchdown. And listen, that's what he needs to be. He needs to be a game manager and a guy that doesn't screw up and make the mistakes, because that's the way that this offense is going to win and thrive. They need to really establish the run, which is what they did. I think that Luis Perez is the perfect guy for this team. Why? Well, first and foremost, you've got to contrast the two guys. You had Matt McGloin, who blew a gasket, was blaming everything on everybody else, saying that they needed a new scheme, blaming the coaches, blaming the players. Whatever he could blame, he blamed, but it seemed to be himself. And then last week, Luis Perez, calm, cool, collected. And this is a guy who's out there having fun and he's balling, and you can definitely tell it. And he understands the pocket. He has really good pocket presence. I've been really pleased with him, in this role and what he's been doing. He understands the game. He understands how to play also to the scramble game. When things start to break down, he understands how to, extend the play and make the play. And he did that against, the Wildcats. It really helped them last week to kind of continue things on. And he really stepped up and he was a leader on the field, as opposed to Matt McGloin, who we were told a whole offseason is the leader of this team, and he really showed that he's really just kind of not that. And so, as I look at this, I really feel like it's falling on Luis Perez here, and I think that that's a good thing. And I think that he fits well in this system. Listen, they're going to want to run with those big backs. And big backs, I'm talking about, the bowling ball, Victor and Cook. They're going to want to hand the ball off to those guys, get those guys rumbling and tumbling, especially Victor. I mean, he is, I love the way he is. He falls forward for extra yards, and he just seems to find the knack to he's a short guy, like myself, and he gets lost in the pile, and then he just kind of squirts out the other side, which is really good. And I'd love to see him get a 100-yard game this game. It would be pretty cool. Last week, it was really neat to get our first 200-yard rushers on the same team last week, and I would love to see another one here. I'm a ex-running back, so I love when the running backs get rumbling and tumbling and get the yards. And that's what they really need to do, is establish the run here, because the fact of the matter is that that's how this offense is run. Run the ball to set up the pass, to set up the play action, and Luis Perez is a perfect quarterback for that. He throws a beautiful ball and a really nice ball down the field. And that's another knock on Matt McGloin. He just doesn't throw a very good deep ball, and we've seen that already many times this season. You can go back and look through all of the games that he has played, and you can see that. And you can already see that Luis Perez, he has very good poise, doesn't get rattled, knows how to work in the pocket, also knows how to work outside of the pocket, and he throws a good ball. But hopefully the biggest thing for him is not make the mistakes. Do not throw the ball ill-advised and just trying to get it into somewhere. He needs to be smart with his throws and, really give his wide receivers an opportunity to make plays, because they have some playmakers, and we started to see some of them last week. Because the thing is we've not really known what type of playmakers they have in the wide receiver position, because they just haven't been really successful throwing the ball. So, I'd love to see them get Pearson, Horn, more involved in things. Last week when looking at things, they had Redding, is another guy that kind of got a couple targets, McKee. And, so Powell and you could tell that they passed the ball around, and Perez got it to a lot of different guys. And so I'd love to see that happen and really allow their playmakers to get the ball and to do that with them on offense. I love that. I like the way that's looking. Now, speaking of offenses, let's go ahead and let's look at Dallas, because Dallas, again, they're just like New York, and they've got issues at quarterback. If you remember last week, Landry Jones went down. And listen, the model, Fabio, Philip Nelson came into the game, and, he almost led them to the win last week. And listen, I have to give the wide receiver a pass. When you're looking at a man that beautiful, when you're looking at Derek Zoolander, and he's giving you blue steel back in your face, you're going to miss the ball, because you are just enamored by the beauty that is Philip Nelson. And I'm joking about him and his modeling career and that, and I don't know, the first game, they said that umpteen different times, and my thoughts on this. I think he should go. I think he'll have a great career as a male model, and that right now, I don't see anything with him that I think that just screams off the paper that he's my starting quarterback. And I think right now for Dallas, because Eric Dungy has been away so much, it really shows that they really like Eric Dungey, and I think Eric Dungey would fit really well in this system. He's a gunslinger who's a guy who can also, run a little bit when he needs to and can run fairly efficiently. Philip Nelson's just not that type of a guy. Philip Nelson I think he would probably fit more better in, probably somewhere like with Norm Chow or in New York's system. He dinked and dunked his way to 200 and some odd yards and a big fat loss in week 1. That's what he did. They didn't finish off any drives. They got stopped. And pretty much St. Louis just kind of kept them in front of them, and they didn't allow their playmakers to make plays. And Philip Nelson really needs to figure out a way in this game to really get the ball to their playmakers in space, not just a little hitch where they get sacked or they get, behind the line or they get tackled right away. They need to really get their playmakers the ball in space. When you've got Parham, you've got Nagel, you got Jeff Badet, you've got all of these guys, who can make plays down the field, you really need to try to get them the ball and that. And so hopefully he can extend things now. And I will say, I'll give him a little bit of credit that, now he's in the system a little bit more, has a little bit more experience. Maybe he can open things up a little bit more. I mean, just throw the ball at Parham. I mean, just throw it up around the area he is. He's, 6'8", 6'9". He's going to catch, he's going to get at least a paw on the ball with that. So, I don't know, but that's just my big concern with him is he didn't take the opportunities down the field, and that really closed things up for them, and they didn't score any points. And listen, if you haven't been paying attention, that's the name of the game, is to score. And if you're not going to score, you're not going to win. Yes, thank you, Captain Obvious. I get that. That was very profound of me to say that. But that is the reality of it here. They really need to create some dynamic plays so that they can stretch the field so that they can make it into those scoring areas and really give themselves opportunities to score. And this is an offense that is designed to throw first to open up the run. And so with that dynamic running duo with Dunbar and with Cameron Artis-Payne, if they don't do that, they're not going to get an opportunity to really get that running game going with those two guys, or the screenplay and that with it. It's not going to open that up because the guys aren't going to be worried about getting thrown, the deep balls. So that's kind of my thought process with that and when I look at it. Looking at New York's defense in this game, listen, I've said it all season, Soro and Sanders, those guys are taking care of the back end, and that really troubles me with the way that Philip Nelson has been playing, because if he's not going to really challenge them in any way, those guys are going to feast and have a big day. The other thing is that their defense had 3 sacks last week, on Josh Johnson, and that's kind of a big deal. And so they're starting this defense. They've played pretty well all season. And so, they might give Philip Nelson some issues, as he goes to throw the ball and as he goes and he does things this week. A guy to look out for was Owens. He had 2 sacks last week, so we'll see if he can continue on with that. Looking at the Dallas defense has been stout. They looked decent and good last week. Not really. A whole lot to say here other than, they shut down Phillips last week. He had some monster games and only had 1 catch last week. They kind of shut down the running game. They held Butler to less than 4 yards a carry with less than 40 yards. And really, PJ Walker had to take it on his back with the passing game to really beat them. And if you want to look at it, Landry Jones really had 4 turnovers himself. If they could just take away a few of those, that might have been a different game, for Dallas last week. And so we'll see what happens. The other thing that is really interesting, with this game is that it's at 7.5 points. So as I'm starting to look at this and kind of go through and try to get my idea of this, for a team that just lost their starting quarterback, who played anemic with a backup quarterback the first week, the same guy, and then a team who is getting hot with a new quarterback, and I think that Luis Perez is going to get better as they go. For it to be at 7.5 points, I'm kind of scratching my head, and it almost has me to the point to where I'm like, is there something that I'm missing here that I'm not seeing? With this, now granted, I will say that, the home team has just been, far away winning. I mean, it's like somewhere around like 70% winning percentage by home teams here in the XFL, which, when you look at the scheme of it, if you want to, compare it to the NFL's more around that half and half mark. So, I mean, that is, it's a little high, but then again, we've only had 4 weeks with 4 games. So, I mean, you're looking at, a sample size that's very, very minuscule, but 7.5 points. I just think that that's way too many points to be giving up this New York team in that setting. Why do I say that? Well, here's my keys to the game, and this is why I really look at that. The New York Guardians, they really need to establish the run. If they can establish the run and Luis Perez can not make any mistakes, I think that this game could be theirs to win. Do I think that they're going to win? Probably not, but I think that it's going to be a close game. And if Luis Perez if he can keep from turning the ball over, I think that they're going to do well. And so when I look at it, I really look at that and them establishing the run. But I think part of establishing the run is Perez not creating turnovers and really protecting the ball and putting them in good positions. That's what I think their keys are. Now, looking over at the Dallas side of things, well, Dallas, I think really Fabio needs to take some opportunities and get his players into some scenarios where they can either get a 50-50 ball, get them out in space, open, and really let these playmakers do what they're designed to do, and that's make plays. Listen, unfortunately, this isn't modeling, and so people, aren't going to be, the defense is not going to be enamored by his beauty. And so what they're going to need to do is he's going to need to, instead of standing back there and just kind of dinking and dunking, he's really going to need to, open that thing up. So if Philip Nelson can open up this offense, I think that is really key. I would like them to target, Parham and possibly see, I really like the way that they use that screen game and really try to get the passes to Dunbar and, to open up the run and things like that. So especially if New York's defense starts to get a little aggressive, I don't think they're going to get aggressive unless Philip Nelson tries to throw the ball down the field. If he cannot make mistakes and he can open up that offense, and really get the playmakers the ball in the space, I think that that's really key for them in this game. And so, guys, that's kind of what I'm thinking. But as things break down and come down to it, I'm going to take the points. I think that this is way too many points. I think this is going to be a low-scoring game, and I think it's going to come down to the end of it. I think Dallas has still got the win, but I think that New York is going to stay with them the whole game, and they'll win on a field goal, or they'll have a small margin of a lead and hold off any type of a surge from New York. So I'll go ahead. I'm taking the points in this game. So there you go. There you have it. That's my thoughts on the game. Hopefully, hopefully you like them. If not, let me know down in the comment section. If you do like them, definitely let me know down in the comment section. But I want to have a discussion down there. And, I want to see what you guys think. And, just have fun with it. All right. Well, I know that you're busy. I know that I'm busy. So let's get on out of here. You have a good night. Bye.